Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today it's going to be a match between Whiteraw and 19 here on Tornado. On the left side of the map, it is the yellow Protoss player from Ukraine, Whiteraw, and in the top rightish, it is the blue Protoss player, 19. Alright, let's do this thing. 19 doesn't know who Whiteraw is? Oh no, where are you from? He says, I'm from Ukraine, says Whiteraw. It's true. He didn't lie to him. That is a true fact. Whiteraw, one of the older players ever to play Brood War and succeed at it, which encourages those of us who are over 30 years old. Let me just say that. All right, so PvP here. I've been getting a lot of requests for a mirror matchup on the channel, so PvP is my favorite mirror matchup in all of Brood War. TVT features a battle cruiser sometimes, but most of the time it's just tank line versus tank line, and it can get kind of slow sometimes. So if you want to see a TVT, let me know in the comments, and I can probably scrounge one up for you. And ZVZ, man, if you can find me a long macro ZVZ, one that's longer than 7 minutes, let me know. I'd be interested in casting it, but every one of those games is so done in 7 minutes. It's either a big Ling bust, kills everything, or somebody gets in a Mutalisk and the other person has Mutas and Scourge, and sometimes you get Hydras, I guess, but the person who has Mutas has the engagement, or has the advantage in the engagement, and then bad things happen. So, I don't know, man. I'm telling you, ZVZ, hard to cast. At least for the kind of stuff that I like to do here. We could do a 2-for, I suppose. But what I like about StarCraft is that it's different, right? ZVZ is so samey that it bothers me. PvP, samey on a certain level too here. Like, we're definitely going to see Reavers, a ton of Dragoons. We're going to see Storm drops and Reaver drops. And those are probably what's going to win the game here today. Not usually frontal assault in Protoss versus Protoss. It's kind of like fastest map ever that way, where you don't really win by attacking directly into your opponent's front door. You win by dropping them and killing their economy. And then your front door attack is a lot more effective. Is that a block? Oh, I thought that... That doesn't show up on the minimap as a blocking pylon. That's definitely 19 pylon. But he built it inside of his own mineral line, which I guess it does allow for better cannon placement back here and stuff. Alright. I thought for sure Whiteraw had tossed that down, because that is a strategy. It messes with the pathing on your probes, but doing it to yourself is something I don't think I've seen before. He just tossed up his own pylon. It's a fake out, though. He's trying to make his opponent think he's cannon rushing him, but he's not. And 19 is responding to this perfectly in that he's not responding to this, because he has a probe scouting, and he knows there's not a forge on the way. That's a cybernetics core and a gateway. You silly wire. That's not a... Is that another pylon from 19? I thought for sure Whiteraw had tossed that down. That's the problem with warping in buildings, is there's not a color involved. Wait, is this one? Okay, this one is a Whiteraw pylon, and that actually blocks this probe inside the house here. He can't get out. What is that? I have a notification of something, guys. Sorry about that. That wasn't you, that was me. Okay, so that's a cybernetics core anyway. Boy, Falcon, let's get on your game. Let's do this. Bah, bah, bah. Smack to the face. Get focused. Get focused. So then the Zealots have to spend some time killing this, and there's no mining that can happen on this mineral patch at all for a while. Just kidding. The backside you totally can, but it's long distance and it sucks that way. Singularity charge on the way here from 19. I mean, the full name is 19TLRKS, but there aren't any vowels in that, and that's much harder to say than just 19. So he's 19 at this point. Dragoon comes out, and the scouting days of this probe are over. Goodbye, goodbye, we never knew thee well, probe. A robotics facility coming in, because again, Reavers are a big deal in this matchup. Is Whiteraw actually neglecting Singularity Charge? Seems like he's neglecting Singularity Charge in favor of going for a very fast robotics facility, which could be bad for him if a bunch of Dragoons show up with range. Although, high ground advantage is a big deal here. Is that enough to negate the lack of Singularity Charge on your defensive Dragoons is the question. I guess we'll find out, because it's starting now for Whiteraw, but that's a longer upgrade. It's going to take some time. There might actually be some aggression here from 19 before all is said and done. So Tornado is kind of a weird map, but you do have your old standard main base, natural, decently narrow area to wall off here. And then a third base, I assume, somewhere nearby. Feels like a 4-player map. Could just be a 3-player map, though. Anyway, Dragoon's in. Nobody has range yet, so the upgrade is not really benefiting 19 at the moment. But some free shots there. Not bad, actually. I think 19's winning this, but the high ground advantage definitely belongs to Whiteraw, and the defender's advantage kicking in here, too. So what you want to do is avoid taking any of the hull damage. You can lose shields because those will come back. But don't take so many shots that you're down in the green here, right? The green health bar, as long as that's full, you're happy, and Whiteraw is happy. He's going for a bay. Nope. Observatory, pylon, and another gateway. So nothing yet by way of support bays. Just going for detection first. Possibly worried about a DT attack, which is not coming at all. It's going to be, that's a pretty darn quick shuttle here. 19 is looking for a bit of a one-base aggressive play. He wants to get inside, but the ramp is hard to penetrate, so if he drops inside the main, it's going to be a lot easier for him. So that's what the shuttle is going to be for, I have to imagine. And there's your robotic support bay. Actually from 19 coming in first of all. So he goes for the robotics bay first. And actually Whiteraw getting his at the same time, just further over here on the production tab. So yeah, 19's is going to finish first, but they'll both finish at virtually the same time. We will see some Dreaver. Excuse me, some Reaver drop play. Otherwise known as Dreaver play if you're Falcon. Reaver coming up from 19. Having that Reaver count is really nice. Continuing to go up this ramp is just not ideal. Just don't worry about it, man. Just stay down here. If Whiteraw comes down, engage with him. If not, we're good. Both players have Singularity Charge. Whiteraw delaying it turned out to be just fine. Observer chasing this army around high ground here for 19, so Whiteraw's not going to push up that little ramp either. Again, positioning is so important in Brood War. High ground is a big stinking deal. Observer decides it is more needed for scouting purposes. Does your opponent have a natural base yet? The answer is no, but this probe may be going for one now. Just kidding, the probe is heading south for reasons I don't understand. Where are you going? Are you going to expand up here? Oh, maybe throwing a pylon up here. Maybe throwing a pylon up here. Why are... I just realized the last PvP that I cast was on this map too. What the heck? Why? I don't know. Anyway, 19 takes out Zealots of Whiteraw and vice versa here. Nobody has any whatsoever. Observer scouting around, seeing what is up. Nothing too surprising. Reaver shows up, gets a big-time hit off. Doesn't kill anything, but does take some of that hull damage down, and that's what we've been talking about. Whiteraw has a Dragoon overextend and die. Yeah. Not a great reaction time there at all. Getting reaction time here. Reaver drop up north. Come on, Falcon. You got this. Yeah, that's a pylon to check for attacks that might come this way. Meanwhile, pushing on down. Gonna get the Reaver. Oh, big time hit. But the Reaver goes down. 19 playing this pretty well this far, I gotta say. 26 to 28 workers. I don't think the Reaver drop did a lot there. Probe count looks pretty healthy for Whiteraw as well. So some damage done on both sides, but nobody's killed a base. Nobody's really wiped out an economy. And we are pretty even across the board on everything at the moment. 19's APM is actually higher than Whiteraw's is. 300 to 200. Not too shabby. Not shabby at all. So Reavers expansion for both players coming in at virtually the same time. Whiteraw trying to push on in. Did both players lose their observers there? I think that's what that sound was. Both players lost their observers. They have to replace them. Whiteraw's is getting produced a little bit quicker than the replacement is from 19 at this stage of the game. So if you're enjoying this, go ahead and hit that like button. It just helps me get more visibility in YouTube's algorithm. Gets more views, and it's just a cheap way for you to help out the channel if you like what you see here. 19 high ground is good, but not when you're up. I mean, I was going to say not when you're outnumbered 2 to 1. But maybe it doesn't matter. Both players, no upgrades other than the Singularity Charge at this stage. There's your Observer from 19 popping in. You want to make sure you have that. Just map vision is really important because, again, drops are huge. I like this pylon location. It's really nice for vision for shuttles, although if he takes the very north path, you're not going to spot that until it's too late. So I think I maybe would have liked it up here, perhaps? Perhaps. Observers following observers, ratting each other out. Oh, 19. You can't just... Okay, nicely done by Whiteraw, recognizing that Observer was coming, scouting it out, and then killing it. Forcing 19 to spend more resources on yet more observers that he doesn't want to have to replace. But he's doing it anyway. So both players' naturals are done. We're at 29 to 33 workers. Observer scouting on in to see what's up with the naturals. He's a pretty good saturation. Recognizes 19 is macroing pretty well here. I haven't bothered him economically at all at this stage, so it's understandable. Observer down, though. Observer down. So pretty much has been a game of kill the observers in this PvP thus far, but Dragoons, Reavers abound across the map right now. It's kind of a bit of a Cold War. White keeping some Dragoons inside of his main, preparing for a possible drop, because he knows that's how you win PvP. Not much here, honestly, from 19. If you were able to send a shuttle down south and come right on in, there'd be nothing to stop it from killing all of your probes other than your reaction time and how fast you can pull them. 19 has high ground advantage over here. I'm surprised that White doesn't have an observer up by these guys, but the vision belongs to 19 right now. Little scouting Dragoon gets taken down. Wrong neighborhood, wrong time for that guy. Probe dead there too. White I think... No, I don't know what that probe was. He's got a probe on this left side going for a third base. 97 to 86 supply. 19 has a lead both in economy and in army supply. He's going for this. He's actually going for this in both locations, which, yeah, 2 Reavers on the left side. That's not going very well. Right side maybe a little bit better for 19, but 2 Reavers versus Dragoons? Not going to work out. And you know what? White actually holding on this high ground as well, forcing 19 back. So after that, we're looking at 76 to 82 supply. White has the lead. The Reavers really winning that engagement handily on the left side. And the high ground for White 2 went exceptionally well for him. So 19 in full retreat mode. Desperately making Dragoons to try to defend against this. The Reavers are pushing on in. However, 19 managed to sneak some Dragoons down to the natural base of White It has taken down the defensive Dragoons there too. Trying to sneak on in. Catch that shuttle maybe. Oh, the Reaver shot was too big. The Reaver shots are too big, ladies and gentlemen. 4 kills on that Reaver, 2 kills on that Reaver. Dragoon still doing some decent work over here at White natural. Good micro, actually, bringing the wounded Dragoons back. Oh, that's super good stuff. The problem is there are White Dragoons inside 19's main base. Reaver shot, humongous life-altering Reaver shot there. Oh, but speaking of life-altering Reaver shots, you ready for this? Oh, splits. The splits were good. Oh, decent hit. Decent hit on that one. Oh my gosh, the probes are running. The probes are running. They know. They know they need to run. Actually, firing on the Dragoon is not what he wants to be doing. He does get a couple more probes there, but not that many. 35 to 28 workers. White has a lead. Oh, that was a big hit. That was a big hit right there. 23 probes for 19 right now. The Reavers staying alive much longer than they should as far as 19 is concerned. And White does manage to take the lead here in this PvP. It's a bit of a quiet moment here. White may be wanting to get more ahead when he's already ahead. He's going for a Templar Archives. A Storm Drops can work very well against these probe lines too. Storm also not bad against Dragoons and Reavers. It's damage. It's a good amount of damage. It's not going to one-shot anything like versus Zerg, but still very good anyway. Another shuttle in production from 19. But he needs to be replacing probes, and he's just not. It's 41 to 23 workers right now. He's a little bit afraid, I think, to start probes, although he just did begin one there. White still no third. It can be really dangerous to take a third base in PvP, because if you're spread too thin, an attack comes in and wipes one of your bases out, and your reaction time is just slow. And it's hard to use static defense to defend against this sort of thing. Still no upgrades, right? Yeah, upgrades not important in PvP, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm sure somebody could explain that to me. It's probably a math thing, right? If you get +1 attack versus other Dragoons, you don't kill them in any fewer attacks than you would normally with no upgrades, and I think it's got to be something like that. So why bother? Why bother getting the upgrade? It's really expensive. It's not helping you practically in the long run. So this stage, it just feels like it's White Raw's game to lose. It was even there for a minute. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, the Scarab gets caught up on those pylons and does not explode on anything. Trying to get one. Ooh, taking down a High Templar is not a bad get, honestly. Did he dodge that Dragoon shot by picking it up with a shuttle? That is a Gosu maneuver out of 19. I don't know who this guy is. He's not bad, honestly. All right, couple probes down. He's slowly whittling his way back here. 38 to 25 workers is not as bad as it was a couple of minutes ago. And the other thing is it forced White Raw's entire army back. They all came back home to deal with that one drop, that one shuttle drop. I don't think there were even 2 Reavers in there. It was just the one. Very strange. So army supply 88 to 81, which means that 19's army is actually bigger, doing some quick math there, just because the worker count for White-Raw is so substantially bigger. Observer scouts on in, recognizing, okay, their observer is dead, so I think I can get some free scouting off here, and he was not wrong about that. Problem is, the High Templar count is a little bit high for White-Raw, and there are no High Templar in the army for 19 whatsoever. He's now starting his Citadel of Adun, but that means it's going to be a while before he has a Templar Archives. And White-Raw feels like it's time to take a 3rd base, so he's taking one down on this left side. DT in production for White-Raw. 19 splitting up his army into a couple separate camps here, and then trying to maybe sneak on into the natural base. Dragoons see it, and 19... Whoa, guy, what? He's just sacking the... He's sacking the Reavers. Decent hit. Oh, no! Not a good hit there. Great Storm defending 19. 19 thought he could get in there if White-Raw was distracted by the Dragoons, but instead he didn't really do much. White-Raw just had too much here at the natural base. Observer dies for 19 too. The probe count is still 39 for White-Raw. It is 29 for 19. He's double pumping probes right now, but he doesn't have a 3rd base, and White-Raw totally does. So the longer this goes on, the just the worse it is for 19. Higher APM notwithstanding here. Those of you who are APM snobs, I can be that way myself, but it's 360 to 200 in favor of 19, and he is behind substantially in this game in every way. Finally, the scouting pylon dies. It's been there for about 10 minutes. And White-Raw decides just to kind of frontally go for it here. He doesn't see any Reavers defending at all, and he's not wrong. No Reavers defending, so a couple good Storms and just some good Dragoon control, and White-Raw can win this battle handily. DT tries to wander in. There's detection, though, so good luck with that. Keeping the Observer on the high ground so it can see off. Nice Storm, but not be spotted himself is really nice. I think he was... I want to say he was trying to snipe off that Observer, but I shot by 19 pulling it back. That is just a great Storm. Again, you're not going to one-shot any of these Dragoons, but you're going to bring them down into the red. And then they're easy pickings after that. It's like a Lurker. You don't one-storm a Lurker to kill it, but one-storming it brings it down to a very, very low HP count, which is where you want to live. 19 now starting his own Storm, but it's 121 and 93 supply. White-Raw is up in every single capacity here. Up in tech. 19 does not have any Dragoons, as he does not have any High Templar either. Scouting around to see is there a 3rd base? No, and no 3rd base. So White-Raw really, really happily just kind of letting 19 starve out on these 2 bases. And as long as 19 doesn't take a 3rd, I really don't see White-Raw being in trouble in this game. It all came down to that one engagement here. Well, there were a couple engagements. There was the one where he tried to attack up the high ground, got beat there, and got beat over here thanks to the 2 Reavers that White-Raw had. And then the drop attempt at the natural where he attempted to come into the front door here too just got shut down. So his aggressive attempts have been nice. They've been decently well thought out. And I like that he has 2 separate control groups here, but it's just not been enough. White-Raw is one of the better Protoss players, one of the better StarCraft players of all time, and it's just not going to be super easy to jump on top of him like that. Yeah, that shuttle is just like, as long as you're not taking a 3rd base, I'm okay with this. Probe scouting around, making sure there's not a ninja he has to worry about. White-Raw is up about 40 supply. We'll make it a 41 supply lead. Really, really hard to come back from here. See how it goes. DT 19 trying to sneak into this 3rd, but there are cannons, and one DT's not going to do much about that. And every time 19 engages, there's Storm. There's just so much darn Storm, and High Templar does get 1 Storm off here from 19, wiping out a couple HT. It is just Storm after Storm after Storm. Okay, another good one from 19, really centrally located there on all of these Dragoons, but it's 139 94 supply. I like the sandwich we have setting up right now out of 19. Decent storms remaining here from Whiterod. He kept a couple in reserve. Going south, going north, or maybe more energy came in during this battle. He's able to do some. 108 to 64 supply. Army supply just killing it right now for Whiterod. There's a defensive Archon here down. He's out. Zealots popping on out with legs, trying to jump on top of these Dragoons, and honestly, not bad. A bunch of speed lots on top of Dragoons. If the Dragoons aren't microed exceptionally well, will do pretty well for themselves. But then if there are also Zealots from the other side, yeah, there's your good game. As all the probes are vulnerable, and Whiterod is your winner in 20 minutes and 34 seconds. Pretty good win. Pretty good win from Whiterod. It looked iffy for him. It looked iffy for him, right? Anyway. But then Whiterod was just defend, 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 get a decent Reaver drop down, and call it a day. From there, he just got more ahead. He managed to secure an expansion, very carefully doing that. And then when he was ready, when he had overwhelming force, he just pushed on in, dealt with the storms, tossed out storms of his own, and got the win. Surprisingly, no Reavers in that final battle. I would have expected to see a couple, but it's fine. 98,000 points for 19, 112 for Whiterod. 172 units produced for Whiterod, ended up losing 103. 19 produced fewer and lost more, which is bad for you. Not many buildings raised, and Whiterod's third base allowed him to get 3,000 more resources spent than 19 at the end of the day. So, all right, that is going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitter, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.